So welcome back to the WOW Seat Workspace. I am AliNICOLE WOW, and in this Workspace session, I've been working with Empathic Power Enhancer Gina Gardiner, and super excited about all of the things that are unfolding and what we've been discussing so far, and ready to move forward in terms of this session and doing some work around some of the evolutionary expansion that's taking place. So I just want to quickly recap some of what we have discussed so far. Gina has shared about the different levels of her new emerging empathic preneur journey and this empire that's being constructed for empaths, and she has several different levels. So she's talked about her publications that she has for the empathic community so far, and also VIP in a day, VIP day in a box products that are in development. And we've been talking about cohort groups and also projects that she's going to be doing for the empathic community as it relates to them becoming authors and writers, and really discovering and finding their voice, and also harnessing more of their empathic power, because the harnessing the empathic power is what she's been delivering so far in terms of the offerings. And one of her publications is all about stepping into your genuine power as an empath, and the foundational work that she has in the first publication that she put out is Harnessing Your Power as an Empath. So we've been talking about that. I also gave her a surprise in terms of a book project and a speaking product and a conference that will be the higher tier of her evolutionary empathic empire, that actually is going to be sort of transplanted in a sense into her larger celebrity-preneur empire of Genuinely You. So excited, to dive into this. Gina, are you ready to rock and roll here?
I am. Notebook at the ready.
All right. So I know. Go ahead.
Like I said, you see me looking down. It's not because I'm not interested. It's because I'm frantically.
Oh, of course, yeah. I know you're engaged and taking the notes and everything. Yeah, I mean it's a work session, so that's what we're doing. It's kind of natural, doing just what we do of mapping things out and starting to bring some structure to a lot of the previous master planning and brainstorming and everything. And so this excitement that we were kind of basking in, so to speak, before the break, was talking about Genuinely You, discovering the truth of your empathic power and authenticity. And as mentioned, this will be a book and a speaking product and a conference that will be a part of your celebrity-preneur platform empire, Genuinely You. And so it's amazing. And I want to point this out because I'm sure that you can see this building, that the harnessing your power as an empath and getting all of those products for that particular training hub, and letting that be what ultimately provides the cocoon experience for others to take themselves through the metamorphosis, and that being the work that is there for them to be able to do that. And then more of your physicality work will be with the empathic authors, and having a platform for that particular work. And then ultimately your Genuinely You is separate, because it will actually be within your bigger empire. And as we know, you have all these different leadership strands of success under the enlightened, leadership aspect that build within these different contexts. And then a lot of media tours and things will take place, under that celebrity-preneur platform. So this is expansive and very different than, as you know, the traditional formats. And so those who are listening, because we operate in multiplicity entrepreneurship and cross-functionality branding and multi-dimensional empire expressions. So it may be a little hard to follow in some cases, but if you pay attention to the demonstration, you'll see how just these different aspects and expressions of Gina's branding start to play out. So as I mentioned, we are working today on the emerging empathic empirepreneurship journey for her and building out this empire. And it's just amazing. Again, we have a media tour, a platform that's a training hub for the products for her, and then her initial work hands-on with empaths at this phase will be more on leveling them up as the writerpreneurs and publisherpreneurs, helping them to get their messages out in many different formats as a writer. And of course, that can ultimately lead to them speaking and doing, a variety of things. And then it said, coming into her larger platform, is she'll have an empathic strand under that. So mind blown, Gina?
Well, as I've said to you so many times, I end up with my brain exploding with possibilities when we have sessions. Yeah. So all good. It's all great stuff. I'm not complaining, but I know without doubt that my brain is going to get completely exploded every time we talk.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
Disruption is destined to happen because it's expanding you into the expression that needs to be demonstrated in the marketplace and ultimately produce the content for those who you are assigned to and assigned to you to benefit from this. So with what has been shared so far, where would you like for this to go? And what would you like to actually start working on that we can get sort of a tentative plan going around it?
Well, bearing in mind that just before the break, you talked about the genuinely you discovering the truth of your empathic power and authenticity, that becoming a publication, speaking product and conference. I'd like to start with, and part of that is the differentiation between harnessing your power and stepping into your power. Was the first was dealing with the stuff that's keeping people, if you like, stuck on the ground, that they are, in your words, they're the caterpillar.
Yes.
It seems to me that the stepping into your genuine power as an empath, that's the cocoon and the just emerging butterfly.
Right.
And this is the butterfly in full flight. And so I'm interested to explore how that moving the thinking on, and then the mechanics of the product, the book, the product, speaking product, and the conference, and how that'll play out. Because I realise that doing it for empaths, the same process, the same thinking structure can be used for the other strands as well.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, yes, and that's a great place to jump in and to get started. But before we actually go there, what I want to do is have you, and not that you haven't thought about this, because we have talked, just even something I've mentioned recently, but I want you to put 3 categories of dimensions in your mind. So the harnessing your empathic power is one category. and that's one dimension. And then the empathic writer journey is another dimension. It's another strand. And then this genuinely you aspect is something completely separate from all of those. It's just that it gets birthed out of this experience, but it's transplanted in a sense. So I want you to see that aspect as something separate from what you're currently working on.
Okay.
All right. So we. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, if I can just. So I would see harnessing as category 1, stepping into is category 2, and the empathic writer would be category 3 for me. Is that right?
Well, what it is that the stepping into your genuine power, it kind of goes in the harnessing as well, because
it's just the next level. And
yeah, it's fine. It's just the next level within that training hub media tour, platform, because that's where your product base is going to be for the empowerment aspect of the empath. But now the writer aspect is different, because this is where we do want to actually get you more into the physicality with those who are desiring to be authors, which you are already working with empathic authors, who are emerging. And so working with those emerging empathic authors, that's where we want more of your cohort groups or your VIP initiatives, to take place. And as I mentioned, there'll be a workspace planner and possibly a VIP day in a box at some point, for that. But this is where we do want more of the physical aspect, where the other ones are just, as you mentioned, the cocoon process, for them to level themselves up, but ultimately not going to be the continuation of the work that you will do, with them, because that's more of your older part of your journey. And so these newer strands are representing more of where you are now and what's emerging for you. And as you hear me say that, when you're actually in a certain part of the journey, that's when you need to be actually sharing and delivering services for individuals, even if you are 2 or 3 steps, ahead of them. And in your case, you're more than that, because even before you wrote your your first empathic book, you've been a multi, #1 best-selling author, and so you've had several publications prior. So you've been a writer, and on many different levels, in blogging and article publishing, whether it be magazine, LinkedIn, just a variety of media outlets that you have had your writings featured. And so you have that journey. But what has changed significantly, especially with our work together, is that you've started publishing more in a different variety of, for a different variety of industries. And so that has begun your new empathic journey of being able to produce those 5 books fairly quickly. That, since we've, been working together, the 5 publishings that have come out very quickly, all the articles that you have published on LinkedIn, and, in great abundance, and also what you've been doing in blogging on Tumblr. So all of this has been helping you to find this next level of your voice and discover your new purpose as an empathic leader who is now building an empire for this, and then teaching others now the importance of leveraging, their writing. So I say that just to segue into now talking about the genuinely you aspect, because it builds upon, but like I said, it's categorized separately. So you are on the journey now of discovering the truth of your empathic power and authenticity. And that's bringing out more of the genuineness of you, because what we know to be true is that you've been helping a number of leaders on different levels and the dimensions of your empire provide those level up aspects, for leaders. But you're stepping more into your empathic power and starting to share your voice as an empath and help other empaths in a new journey versus what you've been working with others, all along, several empaths. So starting, actually going back to this, is that the way you best start with this process is to start jotting down what has been the truths that you've been discovering about yourself, and the truth of what you're realizing of your empathic power, how you're harnessing that power now, and how it's leading to more of your authenticity, you being truly genuine in the way that you are showing up. And of course, you can make this publication even about leadership, because it can be a leader's guide to discovering the truth of their empathic power and authenticity, or it could be discovering the truth of your empathic power and authenticity as a leader. So there's multiple ways that, but that would be how you would first get started, is being able to brainstorm and write down aspects of the previous journey of the harnessing your power, and then how you stepped more into your genuine power as an empath, and the new work that has unfolded, and then again that lends itself to starting to share the discovery. And so that first part would be about, yes, my discovery, the new journey. And you obviously can be able to put in there about the media tour and the new empathic experience. And though you were a facilitator in the media tour, but it opened up so much more for you as an empath, and all of the creations that were developed out of the media tour, and just all of that. So this is bringing you more into your genuine power. And I would focus on, as you are doing, the book product, of course, and starting the process of writing that out. But there are some core key elements that you can start even with the speaking product. And even if it's a mini product that you're doing, and the topic could be discovering the truth of your empathic power and authenticity. And if you made that into a product, you actually can then leverage that product in the other tiers of the harnessing your power. So it would fit well in that. But the larger context of a speaking product or speaking tier, that would be for the media tours and the conferences just around this. So I want you to see this as, too, an empire within itself, even though it is going to be within the celebrity-preneur aspect of your, of the genuinely you. So it's interesting that, here we are in these different dimensions, and I just want to share with those who are tuning in for this session that Gina also has a publication that's called Genuinely New, and it is for maturepreneurs who are basically discovering themselves anew as the leader of their lives after 60. And and so, Gina, do you see how the genuinely publications and products aren't starting with the actual premise that genuinely you was, your primary basis, meaning you didn't write a book called Genuinely You, even though Genuinely You is your primary empire. You didn't write a publication yet that was called Genuinely You, but look at how it's developing, the Genuinely New, so that when you actually do write a Genuinely You publication that is about the enhancement of the power for leadership, so to speak, um, it will be a genuinely new representation, because anything previously would actually not have been an authentic expression. But this particular publication is going to open it up for you and this journey, so that when you actually do a genuinely you, bigger book or so, it's going to be so much more richer because of the journey that has built. Does that make sense?
It does indeed, yes. I mean, interestingly, the Genuinely You started off as a blog called Genuinely Gina.
Yes.
And it was all about being authentic.
Yes.
And it came out of the recognition that so many leaders that I worked with, and people who were coming to me for life coaching because they were working with leaders who were anything but enlightened, is that one of the biggest problems was that people were being inauthentic. They were trying to be what they thought that other people wanted them to be, or what they felt they ought to be, but it wasn't there. And the cracks would show, and the ego would take over, and there's huge collateral damage on all sides.
Yeah. The hugest detriment is when people are not being genuine and showing up in that true authenticity. And you can see for yourself that at some point you had not been showing up in yours either, because of the conditionings, but you knew that there was something more, even though, as you mentioned, that you kind of just went along with it. But then when the journey opened up with us and being able to do this higher level of work, then you finally can see, no, this is the genuine aspect of me, of being able to leverage all of these different layers and dimensions and expressions of who I am as a brand, as an individual, as a leader, and as a business owner. And so it's just amazing, like I said, to see this unfold. So by the time you actually do write the bigger book for Genuinely You, look at the journey that you have to be able to share. And so, as I mentioned, getting started with this particular work is going to be what really opens up the gateway to so much more. You already know that once we start on one thing, the different dimensions start coming out. So we just have to move. We just have to move the energy. So the best strategy, if you will, at this point, obviously, would be to actually continue in the flow that you are, of completing, the products for the Harnessing Your Empathic Power platform, and really starting to move the energy more in this right way, because that's what we really want to be working on now. But at least you have this newer aspect, because I always say play from both sides of the track. And so we are actually covering the past, grounding the present, and working on the emerging. And so everything about the harnessing from your and stepping into your genuine power, from what you've already experienced and what you've already delivered to other empaths, like we said, that's what's in the publications and those products for that platform. But now, where you are now in your empathic journey of writing more and leveraging this as gateways to the higher opportunities, this is what you are bringing to empaths during this time. So that's where the hands in the clay aspect is. But as your hands are in the clay doing the work more in this specific focus, you're also working on the emergence, which is brainstorming, as I mentioned, for this publication. Just starting to write down, you know, what the outline, you know, could be, just something tentative, nothing you're married to at this point.
Yeah.
Um, and just being able to think about that. So there's not really a whole lot of work, so to speak, to do in that area, is because it's the new development that this journey of even what you're doing with the empaths now is what's going to, you know, bring
Yeah.
forth more content for this book, and you being able to reflect over this development of this empathic empire and being able to then put that into your publications and your high-end speaking products and conferences. And all this is what's going to be showcased, you know, during your media tours that will come out of Genuinely You. So, wow.
It's exciting. And,
Yes. Go
you
ahead.
know, I can see already, as always, when we talk, the ideas are sparking off, and you know, the recognition. I think that, you know, when you talk about authenticity, that one of the things that has happened is that I have recognized that it takes confidence sometimes to be quite overt about the fact your one's
Mm-hmm.
spirituality and the
Mm-hmm.
message that you're giving. And I think one of the things that's come out particularly over the last few months, has been an absolute readiness and willingness for me to own that side of me
Yes. Yes.
and to be quite overt about um, how I use my intuition when I'm working with clients, and you know, writing, um, and where it used to happen, I didn't talk about it, but now
Right.
I'm very confident to talk about it, and to talk about it in a way I hope that people don't see as wiki woo, but can act because they can see the outcome, that
Yes.
they can
Right.
see there's nothing pink and fluffy about this, that it's
Right.
actually very powerful, um,
Mm-hmm.
and as a result, give them the confidence to recognize the value in themselves moving
Yes.
forward. Yeah.
Absolutely. Wonderful, wonderful, super excited. I know we're going to have to wrap our session up, but this has been an incredible, and just the unfolding, you know, of this. I can just see, like I said, all the different layers and dimensions, and how you're accelerating and moving very quickly to level up more into the more expansive aspect of serving empaths in the higher genuine tier. So this is great. So we've got a plan here to,
We have
you know,
indeed.
yes, to start working with it. Really, it is just a continuation of what is has already been underway, and now it's just the different more components added to the expansion, that now you can also see a bigger picture for woo. And then now this puts me into the evolutionary expression of your butterfly expression as an empath, with how the empire is going to expand. So before we close out, I'd love to hear takeaways from you from this session, and then also something you would like to empower our those who are listening, and certainly give a plug out to where people can connect with you, get some of the publications that you have out.
I think the takeaways are to recognize that um, the more open you are to the possibilities, um, the the horizon just moves out of the way, if you like, so that if
Yeah.
you start to see, I can already start to see that from this will come other things.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
it's almost like that you open the door to the people who've read the book to the secret garden. They open the green door into the secret garden and they think it
Mm-hmm.
looks just like a little garden, but as they move down the path, so the vista opens and they
Yes.
see that it's rich and full and you can't see the end of it, but
Mm,
it's done in a way that is really beautiful and supportive, rather than, oh my goodness, I've got too much to do and it's scary. um,
right.
and I think so. So that's one big takeaway. Um,
Awesome.
I think also, as I've been listening. There have been, and I've recognised to an extent that um, I haven't stepped into my full authenticity in terms of myself as a spiritual leader.
Yes.
And so what this has done is it's given me the kick, if you like. I've been doing it, but there's more to do and there's more to own. And
Mm-hmm.
so I will take that away, which has been, I think, is really powerful.
The spiritually enlightened leader. Yes.
And although
Mm.
I moved, it's not as if I'm starting from the ground up. I'm well along my way. But
Yes.
what you've done is that uh, you have shifted the trajectory from something which is a slight slope into something which is straight
Mm.
up. And that,
Awesome.
I think, is very powerful. Um, what I'd like to leave people with is I every one of you that's listening to this has the potential to be the genuine, limitless, authentic leader of your own life
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
to make a difference, to leave a living legacy in this world. And
Absolutely.
I would say to anybody who's listening to this, it is time to get out of your own way. You know, the
Mm-hmm.
old conditioning, the old beliefs, some of which belong to your parents, some of which belong to your great grandparents. It is time to take them out and to really ask yourself, are they serving you? Are they
Mm.
empowering you to move forward, or are they keeping you small? And if they're keeping you small, it's time to ditch them.
Yes.
And I would say, you know, I am someone who works with high-powered people, and yet the value of working with somebody like yourself, having a mentor who is that much further um, along the road, is really valuable. So if you're not working with someone, then give yourself the greatest gift that you can. Somebody who believes in you, but also isn't going to let you get away with being anything but the best of you.
Amen.
Um,
Yes. Yes.
and,
Yes.
and don't delay, you know, get on with it, because there's just a lot to do and the opportunities are just fabulous if you give yourself that opportunity.
Absolutely.
And you can reach me, go to either ginagardinerassociates.co.uk, which is the training hub, where you'll find all of the Harness Your Power VIP and intensives and in a box and so on. And there's ginagardiner.com and genuinely-you.com. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook. Come and find me, or if you want to speak to me, email me at info@genuinely-you.com. But whatever you do, please do get in touch. I'd love to hear from you and love to hear what you think.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Gina. And yes, please, when she mentioned about finding a mentor and someone who can assist you, I'm going to say that Gina is the one you need to contact and allow her to be the champion for you that she talked about in the first part. And yeah, because she can certainly take you to heights that you have never imagined possible and show you the limitless potential of who you are. So thank you, Gina, for this session here on the Wow Seat Workspace. Appreciate you so much.
Well, thank you for the opportunity and for the support and the learning and the challenge that you give me. It's just amazing. Thank you.
Oh, you're most welcome. So thanks everyone for tuning in. And as Gina said, never delay in bringing your worthwhile, outstanding works to the marketplace. Your WOW mission really means more than you could ever imagine, and we need you now. And follow us on Facebook. And to the next session, want you to be well and ultimately stay blessed.